Continuing the trend of playing archetypes that utterly die to Ash Blossom or are completely irrelevant in this game in today's world is Vylon's. It's the Omega Loop variant. It's a more streamlined version, so you will not be seeing like the ridiculous link plays that the deck can possibly do. Unfortunately, the deck pretty much requires you to play a lot, and I mean a lot of equipped spells to play, and it's not consistent enough for it. So we're going to start with one of each of the level 4 Vylons that you can essentially play. They're more than just vanillas for the most part, and it's mostly because there are occasions where you will not open up any way of getting cube out of your hand or summoning cube, and this is the best way to start the combo and get you 2 level 3 tuners. It gets you 2 cubes out of the deck because you need to make a level 10, because you need 10 stars to make the Omega, and you need to have 2 tuners as part of it. So the other primary non-tuner is Photon Thrasher. You can play Trident Warrior. The problem with Trident Warrior is that it dies to Ghost Ogre. Basically, you want to make sure as few cards die to Ghost Ogre as possible, and this is the best way to do it because all you're doing is searching it, summoning it, and synchroing with it. And it's a light, so it's perfect. To start off the number of tuners, we're playing 3 Vylon Cube. Of course, this card dies to Ash Blossom, unfortunately. You need this to make the level 7 Synchro that you need in order to start plays. It also searches immediately when you use it for a light attributed Synchro, like Sigma or any of the other light attributed Synchros that you might play, and is also a level 3. The next one, 3 copies of Prism. This is one of the few cards where you, when it's sent from the monster card zone to the graveyard, you pay 500 and equip it to a face-up monster you control. When it attacks, it gains an additional 1,000 when it battles at any given time. This gives certain cards much higher attack, while at the same time providing them with essentially a mini Honest. Also, if you somehow don't open up real well, you can use this to make some rank 4s by using the element loop to a point. I'll explain the element loop when we get to the actual portion of the deck. Now these are essentially your garnets. Okay, you never want to draw any of these. Tetra and 2 spheres. Most of the time you're using a level 7 Synchro in the form of Sigma, which is this guy. So you need at least a level 2 and a level 1. There are occasions where you are forced to make the level 8, okay, and this is and that one's for making 2 spheres. Otherwise, you never want to draw these. It sucks when you do. This allows each one has an effect when they're sent from the field to the graveyard in the monster card zone. You pay 500 to equip it to a monster you control. Sphere allows it to ditch itself to get you an equipped spell and immediately equip it onto the monster as long as it's an appropriate target. Tetra is basically a standard union monster where if the equipped monster will be destroyed, you can destroy this card instead. So, and then 3 Honest. This is just more protecting the Omega by any means necessary, and then the 1 Garnet and the 1 Trick Clown for the Brilliant Fusion engine. For spells, 3 Brilliant Fusion. This is one way of getting the level 8 onto the field to make your element combo. It basically, as long as you open up a level 3 tuner, you're fine. Otherwise, you're just doing other plays. The deck is not entirely consistent. It does have some problems, but that's really built into the fact that you're playing so many cards that you never want to draw, period. Next, Vylon Element. This continuous spell is what makes the card, this and the Rod of Silence Chaos is what makes this combo entirely possible. So let me explain Element. When a Vylon equipped card is destroyed, that face-up on your field is destroyed except during damage step, you can special summon Vylon tuners from your deck equal to the number you use it, that are destroyed. However, you can only use them for Vylon Synchros. This does not mean exceeds links or something like that, so if you have really big luck, you could probably use this to make a lot of link plays. However, the way the deck operates, you're basically limited on ammo. and also depending on how well you draw. The Rod of Silence Chaos is what makes it possible. When Rod of Silence Chaos is equipped to a monster, when you equip another card to it or target a monster with a spell, it negates it and destroys it. All of the Vylon equipped spells have the clause where if they're destroyed or sent to the graveyard in any way, they add another Vylon spell to their hand. So you basically loop this with Element on the board, and you get a bunch of tuners. So that's how you make your synchro, your boss synchro. Now the number of equipped spells are streamlined than anything. Okay, 2 segment, 2 filament, 1 component, and 1 material, and 1 matter. I'll explain each one of these in sequence. Vylon segment, for the most part, makes it so the equipped monster cannot be targeted by monster effects or traps. Unfortunately, this does not prevent spells, but it is a really good card. Prevents targeting of most things. Filament basically makes the monster an ancient gear, preventing spells and traps from activating until the end of the damage step. Component gives your monster piercing. Vylon material gives the monster an extra 600, so it makes like Omega 38. And Vylon matter, you take 3 equipped spells and apply one of the following effects: draw a card or destroy 1 card your opponent controls. The reason why there's not like 3 of each of them is that the entire deck is focusing on making Omega more than anything else. Adding any more spells just adds more into the inconsistency issues that the deck already has because of the way the deck is built. And then we play 1 copy of Twin Swords of Flashing Light Thrice. Because of the Vylon Sigma, you can use it to double equip cards, so you can get your engine going, especially if you didn't open up everything. It at least gets you something. For the rest of the spells, 1 Roto to search the Photon Thrasher, Dark Hole, and Twin Twister. No traps. You could play Roto Decrees if you'd like. So, for the Synchros, most of it is centered towards that. There are a couple exceeds that just in the rare event you have level rank 4s to play. Vylon Sigma. This is the main synchro you're going to make besides Delta, which is another level 7. They pretty much require the same materials, a light tuner and light non-tuners. When this card declares an attack and he's by himself, he's 18 by the way, he equips 1 equip spell immediately to it. So it makes cards like Flashing Light Thrice really cool because you can attack once for 13, like directly or something like that, and then attack again and equip another card like a material or something. It's completely dependent on exactly what you want at that given moment. There are the Mage Power builds that focus on this, but I'm really not a big fan of that because the deck just wants to. The variant that I'm building is more control based. Now, there are occasions where you are forced to make this, Vylon Delta. During your end phase, when it's in face-up defense position, being 28, it can search you an equip spell and add it to your hand. The reason why you have to make this is sometimes you're going first and you brick really badly, and this is the best way to get out of it. And then you're forced to use this as the material to make your Omega. Black Rose, the other generic 7, in case you need it. Stardust for the 8s. Vylon Epsilon is the level 8 you will make. Because it requires a light tuner, and the non-tuners can be any, you can use this with the Gem Knight Seraphonite. You summon off the Brilliant Fusion, which is cool. Also, cards equipped to this card cannot be targeted by spells, traps, or monster effects. And then once per turn, you can send an equipped card to essentially Scrap Dragon. So you Scrap Dragon your equipped spell for one of your opponent's monsters. So Thought Ruler, because why not? Alpha, it's the level 9. Sometimes you'll make it, most times you probably won't. It's there. It just requires a Vylon tuner, which is cool. So you can use it with Seraphonite and a Prism if you need to. When it's Synchro Summon, you can select an equipped spell, equip it immediately, and while it is equipped to something, it cannot be destroyed by spells or traps, which is cool. Vylon Omega. This is a really cool card. So first of all, it requires 2 tuners, which is why you play the loop. It's level 10, 32 attack, 19 defense. When it is Synchro summoned, it destroys all normal summon or set monsters that are face up. All of them. So your opponent's monsters. So sometimes you won't always get its effect for its full value. Once per turn, you could target a Vylon monster in your graveyard and equip it to this card, which is basically taking Sphere or Tetra and gaining their bonus effects that you wouldn't already do. Next, once per turn, you can send an equip card. When an opponent's monster effect activates, you can send an equip card to negate the activation and destroy it. So it's a Divine Wrath, as long as it has equips on it, which is cool. So your standard combo will have like 3 negates on it. Seraphonite for the Brilliant Fusion, Silent Honor Arc, Diamond Dire, Dark Rebellion, Mech Beast, and 1 copy of Crooked Cook. So, I hope you like the deck. It's just a fun deck, like many of the other decks I have on the channel. So, let me know what you think of the deck, and who knows, I might bring something cool. I will be updating some decks as I get more cards for them, like the Gem Knights and the DDDs. I'm just waiting for the cards to come in. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.